Today is Tuesday, August the 3rd, 2021. It's 9 a.m. Proof of posting, please.
The agenda was posted on Thursday, July 29th, 2021 at 3:15 p.m. and the supplemental agenda was posted on Friday, July 30th, 2021 at 3:40 p.m.
Thank you. All right, let's stand briefly for a moment of silence, and then we'll have a pledge to the flags. Not have any this week. We will start with the consent agenda, and Dustin, I think we've got several pulls out of this.
Yes, sir. Suggested pulled items are E3A and E4A.
All right. Are there any other pulls recommended by the court? If not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of those pulls?
So move. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Pass. Okay, Dustin.
Judge, do you want to do the pulled items now, or do you want to drop down and do the public hearing and then the COVID items?
We can do the public hearing, which is item,
It is M7.
number 7.
So Judge, M7 is regarding the establishment of a speed zone on Grady Calvary Road in Precinct 3. And it will hold a public hearing for the purpose of hearing from interested members of the public in connection with the establishment of a 30-mile-per-hour speed zone on Grady Calvary Road from Jerry Moshik Drive to I-35 Access Road in Precinct 3. And so Judge, M7A is the public hearing on the establishment of that speed limit.
Okay, the public hearing is now open. There's no one in the court, I don't believe, that wants to speak to that. Commissioner Jones, do you have any comments?
No.
Okay, the public hearing is closed. Going to M7B, consideration or action of approve the speed zone for Grady Calvary Road in Precinct 3. Is there, this is a speed zone from Grady Calvary Road, from Jerry Moshik Drive to I-35, I-35 Access Road.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Pass.
All right, going to item M1. This is discussion and or action on matters regarding COVID-19. Judge, we have a few updates today. I know Commissioner Miller has shared one of the reports from the Health District.
Okay.
And Mike Dixon's also on the line to give an update on the most recent governor's order. Anna has an update on an employee vaccination clinic. And then Elizabeth is available as well for any questions. So
Okay.
Commissioner Miller, did you want to start?
Thank you. Good morning. Thanks, Dustin. I know with the recent increase in activity, many of us are looking for information. And I just want to remind the court that the Waco-McLennan County Public Health District does post a COVID-19 status report on the covidwaco.com website. And just for you all to, just a refresher, because I've had this report in the packet before, to let you know what that status report, all the information it does include. June 18th, we went to a weekly format, but then on July 26th, we've gone back to the daily reports. So you can go to covidwaco.com and you can always see those briefings or those updated reports in regards to the status of COVID-19 in McLennan County. And you don't have to count on the news, we do have that posted for you on that website.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and Judge, if it's okay, we can call on Mike to give an update on the most recent order from the governor.
Yes, please.
Mike, are you on?
Now can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
The most recent order is GA-38. Essentially, it provides that no governmental entity can compel an individual to receive a COVID-19 vaccine or require them to prove vaccination for any governmental service or entry onto governmental property, pretty much for anything. A lot of people say, well, why do kids get mandatory vaccines, and why can employers require flu vaccines in some situations, stuff like that. The difference here is these vaccines have never gone through the full FDA clearance, and so they're on an emergency use exception, and there's a regulation that says that, you know, you can't force people to take vaccines that are under the emergency use exception. So that's what the difference is. But then the governor's order goes on to make clear that local governments are not to put any operating limits on businesses, and reinforces that local governments are not to put any mask requirements in place. Now that this doesn't apply to the jail, as long as the Texas Commission on Jail Standards, that's in line with their guidance. But essentially, it's just another reassertion that that the local governments have no control over this. And so it's back, you know, no vaccine, can't require vaccines, can't require masks, can't impose operating limits on businesses. Some people are going to looking at other ideas of incentivizing vaccines, like offering a day of vacation or other things. Some, you know, they're looking for different ways to try to encourage employees to get the vaccine, but that's just a personal or a business decision each entity has to make. But at any rate, are there any questions?
Any questions from anyone?
Hey,
Comments?
I have one, some of the previous orders imposed a fee or a fine. Is there a fee or a fine if you violate this order? Because I saw
Yes,
something.
that you can be fined up to $1,000.
Okay,
Mike, what I'm understanding you saying is that local governments can't place requirements on businesses, but there's nothing to preclude a local business from establishing their own guidelines, correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Okay,
okay.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Is Elizabeth going to give a report, give an update?
Judge, she was going to be on just in case there were any questions.
Okay.
So Elizabeth, is there anything particular you'd like to share?
No, not at this time. Commissioner Miller hit it right on the head whenever she said the health district is updating covidwaco.com every day by 4 o'clock with new numbers. So I have nothing else I need to add at this time.
Thank you.
And Judge Anna, are you available to give an update on the employee vaccination clinic?
I am, Dustin. Thank you.
I just wanted to provide the Corps with details of the employee vaccination clinic that we're offering tomorrow. We're offering 2 locations for employees to access the vaccinations here in our HR training room from 9 to 1, and we're also offering vaccines with the assistance of the of County Health Services as well. They're allowing us to use their location. They're actually offering it to the general public as well. And that is from 2 to 5 at their office. We have sent out registration links to all county employees. But if, the employee doesn't want to use a computer or doesn't have access to a computer, they could just call the HR office and we can assist them in registering over the phone. And we actually have assisted a few employees already to register over the phone. The vaccine, of course, is optional. We are just offering a convenient location for employees. I don't have a registration count at this time, but I can definitely come back to the court with a total count of participants that took advantage of the on-site clinics.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Anna?
Anna, I know that HIPAA prevents us from collecting some information, but ballpark figure, you have any idea of percentage of county employees that are vaccinated?
In our last survey, we received from those respondents, 56% of those.
What was it, 56%?
56% responded that they had received either a first dose or were fully vaccinated, but that was from about 200 respondents, and we have a total of almost 1,100 employees.
So, right, okay, all right.
I know there seems to be an uptick in interest for the vaccine based on our health plan numbers. We get a report of initial and second doses administered under the plan through our claims numbers. And the week ending July 30th, there was actually a 53% increase in initial doses administered under, and that's just under our plan. That obviously wouldn't include folks who just went and registered, say, through the health district where you don't have to present insurance. So we are expecting some employee interest in the clinic tomorrow.
Thank you.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Dustin?
Yes, sir. So Judge, we can move back to the start of the agenda and go to item E3 under Human Resources Salary Matters. E3A is County Court at Law number 3. Anna?
So the new County Court at Law 3, we have the appointment of Judge Ryan Luna being effective September 1st. There's now a request to have the positions for County Court at Law 3, the accompanying positions, also be established and effective September 1st of this current fiscal year. The court did approve in the proposed budget the establishment of the 2 supporting positions for fiscal year 22. Those 2 positions are the court admin assistant position and a court reporter position. And so the request is to just have those positions established early, effective this current year, starting September 1st, because that will give us the ability to actually post and accept applications for the position. The budget, if we are able to fill the position by September 1st, and would be for a month of salary in the current year. And I believe that's it, and I can take any questions on that if the court has any.
Okay, it's right around the corner. Any questions about that?
We be ready to go September 1st?
Well,
The court,
I hope,
okay. We have a place to put them, I guess, is the question.
yeah, we've got temporary 1, temporary 2, and long range.
Okay.
Okay? All right, Dustin. Is that action, this?
Yes, sir, Judge. That's an
Okay.
action item.
Okay, to move forward on that, is there a motion to, from the court?
Motion to approve E3A.
Second?
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Thank you.
Under item E4, authorization of notices. E4A is authorization of publications for RFQ 21-011, architectural services to remodel decommissioned jail into courtrooms and office space. Ken?
Yes, I have advertisement ready to go out. It's approved today to go out on Thursday. It will advertise on Thursday, August 5th and Thursday, August 12th. We will be expecting responses by 2 p.m. on Thursday, August 26th. Some of the architects that I have listed to send to are Icon out of Sanger, Plano, Austin. I believe I understood they did Bell County and some other courtrooms. We have a company called Adalet. They're out of Wenatchee, Wisconsin, but they're trying to open up a architectural office here in Waco. I have RBDR. I have IKM Architecture. There's someone that we saw advertising reworking a jail into courtrooms. We have architects who have been working with us for years on the different versions of the courthouse. We have Brinkley Sargent, who's also done a study on a space study for us and are familiar with what we have going on. And of course, we have CPNY. We've been using them over a number of years. And then Zane Dunham suggested that we send a copy of the ad to Texas Society of Architects. So that's kind of our list on who we're going to send to on Thursday. And of course, the advertising in the paper, we may get more.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Ken?
Quickly, Ken, I saw the point system that was set up in determining who to whom to award the bid. Does the
Yeah.
point does the law allow you, or the point system allow you to give points for local access? In other words, somebody who has an office locally that is easy to, that someone will have somebody on site here daily, or is that allowable to award points for local office?
Not in those terms,
Not in those terms.
right?
What about other terms?
We can discuss that.
Okay.
Other questions?
They fall under the capacity to perform
Right.
more or less.
All right, I
Yes.
understand.
In my
All right.
experience.
All right. Okay, thank you. That makes sense.
Okay, if we already taken action on that and this is a report, or we need to take action on it?
Judge, we do actually need action on it to get the notice published.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion to move forward?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Moving on to item F, budget amendments. F1 regarding the FY21 budget. Francis?
So yes, starting with F1A1, we have two certifications of revenue. F1A1 is certification of revenue for interlocal agreement revenue with the city of Colson for road and bridge work. The total is $75,000. And then there is a corresponding budget amendment. The request is to increase the budget for road construction materials by that same amount. F1A2, this is also a certification of revenue for interlocal agreement revenue with the city of Ross for road and bridge work. The total is $50,000. And the corresponding budget amendment is requesting to increase road construction materials for Road and Bridge Precinct 3 by that same amount. F1B, this is a budget amendment for Road and Bridge 3. They are requesting to move within their department to increase road construction materials. And then they are also requesting to move from our county-wide Road and Bridge department, from the line item where we have money budgeted for flood studies, into their professional services line item. F1C, this is the Justice Technology Fund. The request is to increase the line item other services and charges for JP4. And this is for an additional cost needed in that line item for the EDOC annual maintenance cost. F1D, this is our permanent improvement fund, ad valorem funded permanent improvement fund. The request is to increase the roof repairs line item from the contingencies line item in that fund. And there is some detail attached from Clark Roofing that outlines what those repairs will be. They are related to the McGregor building. F1E, this is general fund for the county treasurer's department. He is requesting to move within his department to increase furniture and equipment so that they can purchase a laptop before year end. F1F, this is general fund for the mental health court. The request is to move within that department to increase supplies to cover the cost for the remainder of the year. F1G, this is general fund for the criminal district attorney. The request is to move within their department into other services and charges to cover costs for the remainder of the year. And F1H, this is general fund for the commissioner's court department. The request is to move from the general fund contingencies line to increase other services and charges for our ongoing sign language translation cost. So this should cover the remainder of the year.
Okay, any questions on any of those?
I do have one question. Hopefully TJ's on. What's the situation with the roof at the tax office in McGregor? It just seems like I think this is the second issue we've had, and that's a fairly new building as far as the renovation.
Yeah, that's correct, Commissioner. So as everybody's kind of thinking back, what's going on out there situation-wise, so we've replaced several sections of the existing building roof. This is the last little section of flashing detail above the archway on the door as you enter the building. So what we found is when we've got directional winds that's pushing the rain in from the north and northeast side of the building, it's coming up and over the flashing details. So this is a project they put together to correct that issue.
So this was just flawed basically in design of not.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's part of the original structure. So this is part of the old building system.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve F1A through F1H?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Under F2, regarding the FY22 budget, F2A's discussion and or action regarding matters relative to the FY22 budget and 2021 tax rate. Francis, did you want to go over this now or hold this until later in the agenda?
Judge, do you have any preference?
Yeah, let's hold it to later in the agenda.
Okay.
So F2B is authorization of county legal services budget, Texas Department of Family and Protective Services Title 4E grant. Francis, I guess this will be F2B and F2C.
Yes.
F2C is authorization of county child welfare services budget.
Yeah, so this is the authorization of the budgets for both of those grants for the next year. The budgets are the same from the previous years. So this covers, like it says, some legal services cost related to Title 4E as well as child welfare services.
Okay, any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve F2B and F2C?
So move.
Second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? pass.
Under item G, bids, RFQs, and RFPs, G1's authorization of quote with SecureTech Systems for duress alarm buttons for Wave Plus critical incident notification system in the tax office. And Judge, I believe we'd like to hold this until after an executive session.
Right. Okay.
G2, authorization of recommendation for bid 21-010, printing for various departments. Ken?
Yes, sir. On the bid 21-010, let me first preface that we advertised this bid on July 8th and then on July 13th. No, 15th, I'm sorry. We received a bid from Furman Business Forms. It was our sole bid. And I'll just say that we've done business with Furman's for many years. And it is our recommendation that McClellan County grant the award for printing for various departments to Furman Business Forms. I have to note that Furman's has held this contract many years, and Furman has bought out or absorbed a number of the printing companies that we've done business with in the past. And just, I didn't put this on paper, but just add that they bought out Gradell Printing, Print Mart, Totem, Gray Business Solution, Henson Printing and Supply, Ivy Commercial Printing in Clifton, Impress Printing, and then he said another one that I don't even remember. I can't recall the name. But I just wanted to share that. And if the court agrees, this bid will be in effect from August 3rd, 2021 through July 31 of 2021.
Okay, any questions? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Item H, contracts and interlocal agreements. H1 is authorization of interlocal cooperation agreement with the city of Hallsburg for road shredding. This is the agreement we've entered into with Hallsburg for the past several years for shredding of the roads that approach Trading House Park Lake. And we also, through this interlocal, have the ability to park some of our equipment at City Hall.
Okay, any questions anyone have? What's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
H2, authorization of extension of parking lot lease with Washington Partners LTD regarding county sheriff. David Ives, I believe, is on the line, but I can go over this quickly. This is a renewal of the agreement we have with Washington Partners that provides 20 designated parking space behind the sheriff's office building. And this is to renew it annually with a lease rate of $500 per month.
Okay, any questions? David, do you have anything to say?
We're perfectly happy with the service and we'd like to continue it.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
H3 is reauthorization of interlocal cooperation agreement with Bosqueville Independent School District for School Resource Officer Program. David?
This is a renewal on our SRO contract with Bosqueville. They've expressed interest in continuing the program and we'd like to continue the program with them as well, providing the service for the community.
Any questions anyone have? What's the pleasure of the court?
So moved.
Have a motion, and I'll second.
Second.
Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
H4 is authorization of interlocal cooperative agreement with Bruceville Eddy Independent School District for road work. Commissioner Smith?
I've got a call from them and asking us if we could help them fill some potholes in and around the parking lots and driveways through the ISD there. So we're trying to help them.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Pass.
H5, ratification of rental schedule agreement with RDO Equipment Company for Road and Bridge Precinct 4. Commissioner Perry?
Yes, sir. We just need approval for the agreement with RDO for an excavator, the hydro hammer needed for some bridge work. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
H6, authorization of agreement with Waco Transit System for advertising for health services. Heather?
Yes, good morning. This is for a banner that's going to be on the inside of one of the Waco Transit buses. And because the buses run different routes, we'll have the availability of it on different routes throughout the year. So this is for a 12-month agreement starting in August. $40 a month and then a startup fee, so total of $505.
Okay, any questions? Is there a motion to approve the agreement with Waco Transit System?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Pass.
H7, authorization of interlocal cooperation agreements with the City of West. H7A is regarding road work on Marable Street, and H7B is regarding work at West Fairgrounds. Commissioner Jones?
So the Marable Street is a small chip seal, very small. And the West Fairgrounds is for West Fest Labor Day weekend. The interlocal agreement we entered, we do every year for the economic impact that West Fest brings to the county.
Okay, any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve H7A and H7B?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Under item I, capital improvement and construction projects, I1 regarding Spiegelville Road Improvement Project, bid 20-004, agreement with Knife River Corporation South. I1A is authorization of application for payment number 14. I1B is authorization of application for payment number 15, and I1C is for payment number 16. Zane?
Yes, sir. These payments are for Spiegelville Road by the contractor Knife River. Pay items number 14, 15, and 16 have been reviewed and are recommended for approval.
Okay, any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
I2 regarding ADA renovations to MHMR Crisis Center, bid 21-003, agreement with HCS Incorporated, commercial general contractor. There are two items under here as well. I2A is authorization of field order number 1, and I2B, authorization of change order number 1. TJ and Ken?
So field order number 1 covers some additional or some replacements of water fountains throughout the facility. So what we determined when we went over and walked the facility with the construction group is we had the bulk of our water fountains were not working. So this field order is to replace those units as well as to expedite some shipping on some exhaust fans. The original exhaust fans that were scoped out during the project have become inaccessible and have a long lead time. So rather than wait the 2 to 3 months to get them, we'd like to proceed with the field order to replace them with a similar unit, but it does have some expedited shipping charges.
Any questions? All right, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
And then I2B, authorization of change order number 1. TJ, is that a separate approval?
Yeah, we probably ought to go ahead and approve it. The first one's field order related. This one's the change order related. Do keep in mind that all the costs are covered under the built-in contingency that we had in the project. So it's not additional to the contract itself.
Okay, any questions?
So they're just wanting to extend the completion date of the construction project, TJ?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And is that weather related?
It's weather and material related. We're having issues, of course, like I mentioned with the exhaust fans. But we're also having issues with the roofing material. As you'll recall back, the roof replacement of that structure was part of this contract. And they're having issues having material dropped on time.
But everybody else join the crowd with materials. Yep.
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Pass.
We have nothing under item J. Under item K, grants, grant proposals, K1s regarding the U.S. Department of Treasury, Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, American Rescue Plan. K1A is authorization of professional services agreement with BKD LLP for grant administration services. Judge, Mike and I have been working with BKD, and we had drafts going back and forth last night, and we're actually need to jump on a call with BKD one day this week to hopefully finalize this. So we hope to bring it back on the 17th. So we just need a motion to defer.
All right, is there a motion to defer?
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
K1B is authorization of professional consulting contract with Lockwood, Andrews, and Newman Incorporated. The court will remember back on July 20th, we approved the consulting agreement with Tom Ray pending legal review. Mike went ahead and drafted something that's going to be more similar to what we end up doing with BKD, and it changed enough that we will need to have it back on the agenda. Tom was out of town last week, and so he's requested to be able to look at this a little bit longer. So the same thing, if we could defer it, then we hope to bring it back on the 17th.
Thank you. Is there a motion to defer?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any other discussion?
I have a
Yeah, go ahead.
Just one question, not in regards to their agreement, but the subject matter. Are we still going to get a presentation from Francis and Dustin as far as the uses of this American Rescue Plan Act? Because I saw from his contract that he's kind of focused on water and sewer. What I'm reading initially for BKD, they're talking about accounting. But as far as giving us a full picture of what we can do with the funds, are we going to get a presentation like that?
Right, and I think it'll involve really more than just those. It'll involve us as well.
Okay.
And trying to prioritize what we want to do and see if they fit into those areas. The purpose of looking at consultants is to help us with the intricacies of the specific type of or part of the fund that would parallel to what our needs are, like water, sewer, those kind of things with LAN, and then the other programs that may pertain to more I would call them more social program type or BKD to analyze whether that fits or not. And so during the budgeting process, there were several things that we're going to either budget for or it'll come out of our general fund or it'll come out of the American Rescue Act. So the next step is trying to get budget behind us and then start that conversation to really work on it, concentrate on the American Rescue Plan Act like we did the budget, and start breaking that down. But, we're still learning things as well, but there's a lot of...
Maybe a work session or a series of work
Yeah, I
sessions?
think a work session would be appropriate, and then prioritize what we want to do, and then take the high priorities, go with those first, and then all the way down till the money runs out would be the plan.
And the Treasury, is still issuing guidance. There's no final guidance either. So, they're slowly trying to clear up some of the topics and some of the categories, but also waiting on some of that information to
Right.
flow in.
Okay. So,
I did second that motion to defer.
Okay.
I forgot who made the motion, but I did second.
okay, thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
K2 regarding U.S. Department of Treasury Emergency Rental Assistance Program. K2A authorization of reimbursement request reports from the City of Waco. In the packet, City of Waco has submitted for approval the following billing totaling $178,951.91. That's for the month of June for the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. And they've also included reports for the weeks ending July 16th and July 23rd.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the reimbursement request?
So moved.
Report from the City of Waco.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any other discussion? Go ahead.
Discussion?
Yeah.
And maybe I'd have trouble finding it, and that's very possible, but when these reports come in, reimbursement requests, Francis, is it possible for us to find how much of that is administrative costs and how much of it's actually going out to claimants?
Sure.
I don't have to have it right now, but I'd like that included,
Yes.
broken out like that.
Very easy
I'd
to-
like to know how many
and that's
people are
how-
actually receiving money.
Yes, and that's how we do have to, of course, break down the financial reports that we are sending in for each of these requests, for each of these months or quarterly. But yes, the city breaks down, what was rent, what was utilities, what's their admin cost. So yes.
Okay,
Easy
thank
to
you.
get that to you all.
Thank you very
Love
much.
for you.
And that's that was in the file documents, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
sir.
All right, let's see, we need
We also get a report that Dustin sends out weekly. Do you get that report that
I
the
don't
City
think
of
I do.
Waco sends him weekly?
I don't think I
It's
get that.
a summary of the activity for that time period. Isn't that correct, Dustin?
Yes, ma'am. We'll start including it in the packet as well.
Okay, good. All right, I think we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
K2B, discussion and or action regarding the second Emergency Rental Assistance Program, ERA2, and administration thereof. As the court remembers, we've had presentations from both the City of Waco and also from EOAC, and we're working with agreements on those, and we'll bring those back to the court on the 17th for the court to choose a direction. So, Judge, we just need a motion to defer at this time.
Motion to defer.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
Item L, Department Office Specific Requests. L1, Health Services, update on collaborative internship program with Baylor University. Heather?
Hi, yes, I just wanted to take a moment to thank the court for the opportunity that we had to have an intern this summer. Our intern, Katie Schiffer, is studying for her Bachelor's of Science in Public Health, and she's hoping one day for a career in healthcare administration. Not only is she on academic scholarship at Baylor, but also athletic scholarship. She's a member of the acrobatics and tumbling team and also on the dean's list. And I just want to say from the moment that we met her in her interview, we just knew that she was going to be a great fit for the program. She brought so much to the program. If you see our fancy flyers and brochure handouts, those are all compliments of her. As part of her time with us, I had her really contribute to the feedback to the team in our unit meetings, and at the end asked her to give an overall presentation of her accomplishments while she was here, and I submitted that to the court for recording purposes. So I just wanted to thank the court for the opportunity to have her and to just give a shout out to her for all of her accomplishments. We really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to accept this report for recording purposes?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? My only comment would be, we really want, but thanks for the feedback, and we want feedback from all the areas that used interns to see how that's working, as well as an opportunity maybe someday for these people to work in our organization as well. So it's I feel like it's going to be a great program. All right, call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Item M, additional items for discussion and potential action. M2, discussion regarding healthcare plan audit and related engagement agreement with Messier 42 LLC. Judge, we recommend we keep this deferred.
All right.
Motion to defer.
Second.
We have a motion to defer and a second. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
M3, discussion and or action regarding proposed pending state federal legislation. And just as a reminder that the Open Meetings Act suspension, that suspension lifts on September 1st, meaning that Open Meetings Act will be effective, and all government bodies subject to it will need to follow the act and be in full compliance. For us, as a reminder, and we have done a little bit additional research since the last time I presented, we will still be able to operate via Zoom should the court choose going forward, as long as there is a quorum of the commissioners present in the commissioner's courtroom. And the same goes for any other body in the county that's subject to the Open Meetings Act, such as the Bail Bond Board or the Child Welfare Board. As long as there are a quorum of members present in one location, other members of the governing body can participate via Zoom. And that also means public participation and other employee participation can be via Zoom as well.
Okay, no action needed.
No action needed. Yes, sir. So M4 is Greater Waco Chamber of Commerce Monthly Economic Development Report, June 2021. Judge, I see Chris signing on right now.
Okay.
Chris?
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Appreciate the opportunity to be here. You have before you our report, our monthly report, and I will share with you my screen so you can see a summary of our activity for the month. Sorry, my computer just went black. Can y'all see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so we have our report of activity through the month of June. You can see that the level of active inquiries is up considerably over where we were the same time last year. And we have had a number of site visits that occurred in the month of June. We had 11. Some of those were multiple visits by the same company, which is always a good thing. If you'll recall where we were in 2021, we didn't think that we were going to have a lot of activity rolling into the pandemic, and it ended up being one of our busiest years ever and most productive from the level of announcements. So we're on track for a very good year when it comes to level of activity that we should see announced this year. Our business retention visits are up for the year as well. We had moved back to face-to-face visits late last year and have been rolling through those. I will say that there are some concerns out there with the Delta variant, and we have seen some companies that have implemented restrictions for visitors or have asked us to move back to a Zoom platform. So we are very mindful of that, and we'll make adjustments on our end in order to continue visiting with our existing businesses. We had a number of existing business assistance requests in June too. You can see that number is down from where we were in 2020. And of course, those requests in 2020 were considerably different than what we were seeing this year. We actually have been out and about doing business development events in June as well, where we were it came to March and beyond, we had completely halted our activity. So we are getting out and about again, and we'll see more activity moving into the August and into the fall, things moving forward, hopefully in a positive way, and we don't have any kind of setbacks related to COVID. When we look at the most active projects that we have, several of these are ones that the council considered the commissioners considered during our last visit together. Project Spin and Project Casper, those were the ones for Hesselbein, and then Casper was the project for Mars. But you can see that we do still have a strong number of projects in our pipeline right now, and a number of projects in where we are community under consideration. So we continue to get a lot of requests for information. We're hosting visitors this week as well. And we know that there's a lot of interest in Texas and in the Central Texas region. So we feel like this is, the level of activity is very strong for us right now. Just to give you an idea of where we are from an economic recovery perspective, of course, we've reached our pre-pandemic numbers at the end of 2020, but we are up when it comes to single-family housing permits. Sales are up. Payroll employment is considerably better than where we were the same time last year. Retail sales are up considerably. Hotel occupancy taxes were up 367% over May of 2020. And of course, we know that there was a shutdown, but trying to also just compare against 2019, because that's much more of an apples to apples comparison. Those numbers and hotel occupancy tax collections are very comparable to where we were in May of 2019. Our spending is very close to where we were in May of 2019 as well. So we know that we're in a good position because we were on a very good trajectory in 2019 as well as 2020 prior to the shutdown in April. But I just wanted y'all to see where we were when it comes to those things. And then we always feel it's important to work in partnership with others. We worked in collaboration with the City of Waco, Goodwill, Prosper Waco, Workforce Solutions, and our other chambers of commerce across McLennan County to host the Heart of Texas Hiring Fair in June at Chisholm Hall. It was free for both employers and job seekers. We had, and we put it together very quickly. So we put this together in a 2-week time period. And within that, we had 110 employers that participated, and we had over 350 attendees at the fair too. So we know that we were very targeted in doing this prior to the expiration of the additional unemployment benefits that the governor ended at the end of June. So we wanted people to have an opportunity to get employed if they weren't already there, and minimize any kind of impact between the end of those benefits and getting back to work. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that y'all might have about the report or what's happening in our marketplace.
Chris, I guess the Workforce Solutions and other entities that work with us, that we get the word out to adjoining counties on these job fairs as well. Is that correct?
I know that there was some media information that was shared. We put a joint press release out. It was covered by the Trib. I'm pretty sure that it was covered by several television stations as well. I don't know if Workforce Solutions shared it with their partner in the Central Texas Workforce region, but we did have questions from employers outside of McLennan County wanting to come in and participate in the fair too.
Oh, okay, good. And I think it's good to keep track of those numbers whenever we're talking to prospects, that we can show them how many people are interested in these jobs or getting better jobs than they have now. So
for sure,
it's good. Any questions for Chris?
I have one. I think it's a great idea, the ongoing job fairs that we're having. Are any of our WMDEC employers participating in those events?
Yes, ma'am. We had a number of employers that have received grants through the Economic Development Corporation that were participating in that. I know that AbbVie, who's the new owner of Allergan, was there. Tractor Supply was there. Hello Bello was there. And then with some of our new companies like Envasis was there as well. Uzanuts hasn't begun construction yet. They did the groundbreaking, but they were there to observe the job fair and make some connections there in anticipation for their hiring needs too. So there was a lot of participation. Again, there were 110 employers, but I know that there were several there that were that have received economic development assistance from the city and county in participation.
I know in speaking with Texas Workforce, that you all have initiated a process by which at those job fairs, individuals aren't just getting information, but you're actually doing an application intake And in some cases, there are on-site interviews. I believe I was told that 7 individuals, I'm not sure if it was this job fair or a previous one, but 7 individuals actually left a job fair with employment. Are we seeing that kind of positive activity with those WIMDEC employers?
Absolutely. I know Swan Products was at the job fair. They have been a WEDMEC recipient, and they hired 5 people on the spot at the fair. So, and they too have increased their base entry level wage for their facility. They did that they did that in 2019, I believe, as a way of helping to attract more talent into their business. So we are seeing those employers participating. They're receiving benefit by being there and getting good applicants for their open positions.
Well, I want to publicly thank you for the way you all addressed some of those concerns I had about employment and how to actually get those jobs to those targeted communities. I want to ask you one more deal. You mentioned that, one more question rather. You mentioned that you are putting advertising in the Waco trip. Have we thought about some of the smaller newspapers? And the Anchor News comes to my mind because I think I was talking to someone, it might have been Workforce, and they said if they could get the information out to the churches, to the minority churches, that might even help ramp up some of that unemployment and underemployment that we seem to be suffering from. I know, I hate Ernesto Frago is gone, but I'm gonna get with Hector and see what their communication vein looks like. But I do know the Anchor News is just about in every African-American church throughout the county, not just in Waco. So maybe we could look at putting some advertising in that publication prior to these job fairs, because they're phenomenal.
You bet. And we did engage with, I know that Hector Sabito was very helpful in helping to push out information about the job fair to the Hispanic community through radio advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And then we worked very closely with the Syntax and Hispanic chambers to push information or ask them to share information within their membership in their communities in order to help provide awareness and opportunity for all.
Right, and the Syntax African American Chamber is doing an excellent job too. If we could bring in the Anchor News, I think we'd kind of do a full circle. I think we could kind of fill up maybe any donut holes that we're showing, because the job fairs are great.
That's great. We'll make sure that they get the information that they're in our media list, so that when we send out press releases and things, that they're getting that information and they can include it in their publications.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's great feedback.
And thank you for the job that you're doing.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments for Chris? All right, is there a motion to approve her report for recording purposes?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Pass. Thank you,
y'all.
Chris. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
M5, authorizations regarding Texas Department of Motor Vehicles 2022 local optional fees as per Chapter 502 of the Texas Transportation Code. Chapter 502 of the Transportation Code gives counties the authority to impose optional fees in addition to the vehicle registration fee. M5A is the county road and bridge fee, section 502.401. We are currently set at the maximum of $10 on that fee. M5B is the child safety fee under section 502.403. We are currently set at the maximum of $1.50 on that one. That was approved in court back in August of 2013. Since we're at the maximum of both of those, we can either, choices are to either decrease the fees or to make no changes. So it's a decision of the Commissioner's Court.
Okay, any questions for Dustin? If
A
not,
couple questions.
yeah.
Number one, and I guess it would be a question for Francis, under M5A, where does that money go? Is it just going to the general
In the general
General,
fund.
okay.
Yes, both of the $10 and the $1.50 both go into the general
All right.
fund.
And then under 5B, to what is that money allocated or where does it show up?
So there is a separate line item that says child safety fee in the general fund. And so we do get to keep 10% for an admin cost plus the amount that's attributable to people that live in unincorporated areas. The portion that is attributable to people that live in incorporated cities, that amount goes out back to them. But the amount we keep, it does go into the general fund. And in the statute, one of the options says if there's a county and they do not have a child crossing safety program or some other things, it says you can just put it in the general fund. So it lists some options, one of those being deposit to the general fund. So that's the option that we have chosen to take in the past.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? I recommend that we leave the fees the same, and I make a motion we do so.
Second.
Second.
Both M5A and M5B, and I have a motion and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Pass. Thank you.
M6, authorization of intergovernmental transfers of funds derived from the County Healthcare Provider Participation Fund mandatory payments. Heather?
Yes, this is the request to IGT up to the amount in the LPPF of $2,483,508.13 for the Europe Uniform Hospital Increase Reimbursement Program.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Heather? If not, is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Motion to approve.
All right, motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
M8, Texas Association of Counties Risk Management Fund, authorization of liability coverage renewal and related invoice. This is for public officials liability, law enforcement liability, general liability, auto liability, and auto physical damage. These are the renewal documents for 2021 and the related invoice totaling $538,817. This is a decrease from last year. Last year was $551,924. And Ken and I have reviewed this, and also Julia Wages in the auditor's office, and want to thank both of them. It's the way that we maintain automobiles now. It's a much easier process. So thanks to both of them for all their work on it.
Okay, any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
M9, discussion and/or action regarding the McLennan County Facility Master Plan, office relocations, and/or long-range planning courts. And Judge, I don't believe we have anything specific today since y'all approved that notice for the RFQ earlier.
Okay, we're moving forward, so, no action needed.
Okay, we don't have anything under item N. Under item O, McLennan County Venue Project, authorizations for phase 1, 2, and/or phase 3. O1's regarding the architectural services agreement with Populous. O1A is authorization of professional services invoice, their June services invoice. This is invoice from Populous totaling $15,190 for construction administration related to the venue project. June's invoice included some extended construction administration work that has now been billed at 100% for construction administration. Then the remainder switched just to an hourly fee. They believe, and we believe too, Ken and I visited with them, it will be cheaper to do it this way for the months of July. And then in August, they anticipate closing out the project and issuing the certificate of substantial completion.
Okay, and primarily, working with them through the punch list process is a big part of that, which we've been involved in. Any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the invoice? I'll make a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
We have nothing under item P, and moving on to a supplemental agenda. Under item B, additional items for discussion and potential action. One, regarding the November 2nd, 2021 joint general election, authorization of order of special election, early voting dates, times and locations, and election day vote centers. Jared, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Morning, Jared.
Morning. So this is just basically to approve that we're going to be holding an election in November. So there's going to be the Texas Constitutional Amendment election, and then there's going to be some cities and schools who are going to contract with us as well.
Okay, and yes.
I had one question. I noticed on the, and I know these are specific to this election cycle only, but I was wondering, on your early voting days, they're Monday through Friday for both weeks. You don't have a weekend day. And I only ask that at least a Saturday, because if we have people that are working all week and they may get off on that weekend, but we're making it real crunch for them. I do see where you extended 2 hours to 7 o'clock on the last Thursday and Friday. But is any way, is it any way to trade out one of those weekdays and put in a Saturday?
Well, we wouldn't trade out any of the week. We're doing is we're following typically what we do on a odd numbered year election, which would be like the last one would have been in 2019, and it's the same schedule that we followed before. These are the guidelines that are set out by the Texas Secretary of State as far as when we need to be holding early voting. We're not required to hold early voting on the weekend for this election. That's why we went with the 2 weeks as is.
Right, and I understand that, not to imply you do anything wrong, I'm just wondering, because the luxury of having voting on Saturday is that it allows people that have worked not to try to get off of work and rush and vote. And we both know that sometimes those constitutional amendment elections have kind of a low turnout. So I'm wondering if this would just kind of help incentivize people to vote in this election, because it will have the amendments that are gonna reflect on the Constitution. So it is an important election if we incentivize people with the weekend day. I know you don't have to do it, but can you do it? Could you do it?
We can look at that. Typically, it would need to there's a petition that it would need to be signed. So we could look at that. It does need to be approved by August 16th if we're going to make any changes.
Okay.
So you said a petition?
Yeah, we have to get like some kind of written request.
Oh, locally we have to petition the state. So you're saying locally we have to petition the state?
We need something
to
in
have a
writing that
weekend
comes to.
I'm sorry.
No, you don't.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Say it
I'm
again,
sorry, my
Jared.
connection
No, you know how
here
Zoom does you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm sorry, my connection's not great here in the hotel. We would need something in writing, like requesting that we would do weekend voting if that's what we wanted to do. So,
from a citizen or from the commissioner's court or from who?
It needs to come from somebody in the county. So I can get clarification on if it needs to be specific from somebody or not. So, or a specific group. So now,
what's the cost of adding a day?
Typically it's around, I believe it's around $2,000.
Okay.
And once again, I don't have my notes with me right now because I'm here at the Secretary of State conference. So
Okay.
I could look that up when I get back tomorrow.
Okay, Commissioner Miller.
Okay, I want to get it clear. If we did not vote on these dates, would we still need to petition, and are we petitioning to the state in order to not have it on weekdays, but to substitute a weekend day? We have to petition to the state, or is someone petitioning to the county?
We do have to hold it on days. So the days that we have it listed right now on this order of election,
Mhm.
we have to hold it on those days. Now you can petition to my office that you wanted to hold voting on a weekend day, like Saturday. So we couldn't trade like a weekday for the weekend, if that makes sense.
Okay, so you have set the dates. The McLennan County
Yes.
Elections Office has set the dates. And if we
Yes.
wanted to, say, instead of having it on Thursday and Friday, but have it on that previous Saturday and end early voting, say that Wednesday, an organization would need to petition to you to change your dates?
Yes, we would need to receive some sort of written request stating that you wanted to hold early voting on a weekend day.
But you can't substitute.
No,
You have to
no,
hold
we
it on
have
the,
to hold it. Yeah, the days that we
So-
have
so it's-
scheduled right now must be. We have to hold early voting on those days. We can't trade like a Wednesday.
so it
for
would
a
be an
Saturday.
additional date.
Correct.
Okay, and that, the state is saying have it Monday through Friday, Monday through Friday? Okay.
And the last 2 days of early voting must be for 12 hours. So 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay, so the state gave us those Monday through Fridays, but this is just this election cycle. When we go
Right.
into the next election cycle, because I know in those general elections, I guess on the even, that we do have weekend dates, and that won't affect
Correct.
that cycle, right?
Correct. That's correct. So we're
Okay.
not going to do away with Saturday and Sunday voting, say during the primary or the November general election next year.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so let me get this clear. We can vote on these days, but that doesn't prevent a petition to come forward or to petition your office to add a day. So,
Correct.
so it'd be appropriate for the court to consider these dates that wouldn't affect
Petition.
a weekend, a petition date. Okay?
Judge, I did have one question. If that happens though, Jared, and you said we had to call it by the 16th, can we, Commissioners Court doesn't meet again until the 17th. So would we need to meet prior to add that weekend date, or can you just add it?
I believe we can add it. I will get clarification from Secretary of State.
Okay.
So since I'm here, I'll ask somebody and I can get back to you about that. I'll send you a message, Dustin, and let you know.
Okay.
I
good.
believe we can add it afterwards, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't see,
But we do need to get this approved today.
I don't see how you can add it if it's gonna add cost to the county and we don't vote on it.
Yeah, if it's gonna add cost, we'll have to vote on it. I would hope the court would insist that we vote on it.
Okay, Jared, let's just see how fast you can get an answer to Dustin.
Okay.
Okay.
In regards to item, under item B1, what's the pleasure of the court? There a motion to approve the order of special election early voting dates, time and locations on election day voting centers.
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Oppose? Pass.
All right, under item B2, approval of memorandum of agreement and authorization of payment for acquisition of right-of-way, McCad property, tax ID 108717, Panther Branch Road Improvement Project. Zane?
Yes, sir. This is an item to purchase right away on Panther Branch Road in the amount of $2,200, and it's recommended for approval.
Okay, any questions for Zane?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Oppose? Pass.
Under item C, grants, 1 regarding the Office of the Governor, Criminal Justice Division, County Innovations to address commercial sexual exploitation grant, authorization of amended budget. David Ives?
Commissioners, the commercial sexual exploitation prevention from the governor's office has cut the funding for the grant The grant was originally proposed with a budget of $277,801, and they've cut the total grant amount to $250,000. We would like to continue this program by doing a 75-20 match on one of the employees' salaries within that to maintain our travel and operational funds within that.
Any questions? What's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion?
Where will the funds come from?
They would have to come from the general fund.
The matching part, the county's matching
Correct.
part comes from the
Whatever.
general fund.
On the one position.
Right.
But we're still getting 250,000 from the state, out of
Correct.
the 277,801, okay.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? We have a motion and a second. Call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Bolton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
And Judge, that's all the action items minus the budget item, and then G1, the one that we'll need to go back to after we go into executive session.
Okay. Let's go back to the budget item. And Francis,
Yes, sir.
What number is that, Fran?
It was F28.
F. There it is, okay.
So something I need to bring to your attention first. You proposed a tax rate last Tuesday, and so that was calculated. Those calculations were made last week, and so you did propose the no new revenue rate. We found out late yesterday afternoon, the tax office alerted us to the fact that the state comptroller had made some last minute adjustments to the calculation sheets, and those were not reflected in the rates that we received last week from them. So that changes the no new revenue rate. It drops it a little less than half a penny. So we were looking at 0.447422. It is now 0.442876. So one thing, we always allow a little bit of cushion within our tax rate budget schedule to account for things that may come up unexpected. And so the formal publication that announces, hey, here's the proposed tax rate, and gives the public all of the necessary information, that has not been published as of yet. So today, since the intent was to go with, or to propose the no new revenue rate, I think it would be best if you rescinded from last week and then repropose today with that new rate. It would have to be done today in order to fit within the timeline.
And what was the new rate?
So it's 0.442876.
And what was it prior to that?
447422.
okay, so the first action would be to rescind the previous announced no new revenue rate.
Yes, the proposed rate.
All right. So is there a motion to rescind that rate?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Did Commissioner Jones vote? Commissioner Jones? Let the record reflect.
Sorry, I was on mute. I vote in favor. Aye.
Thank you. All right. All right. In regards to the next action is, I think I made the motion last time, so I'll do so this time. I propose a tax rate of 0.442876 for the 2021-2022 tax year. This rate is comprised of 0.022222 for interest and sinking and 0.420654 for maintenance and operations. The 0.420654 for maintenance and operation is further broke down to 0.0251 for the Permanent Improvement Fund and .395554 for the general fund. Is there a second?
Second.
And I had a question, one more time, Francis. The difference in the initial rate and this rate is what again? What the change was caused by exactly what again?
Oh, I'm sorry. There were some changes the state comptroller made to the calculations at the last minute. So those were not, when we received the rate last week from the tax office, they had not accounted for that as of yet. But now they have those adjustments to the calculation. So this is those recalculated.
Okay.
No new revenue rate.
And if we equate that to dollars and cents, this rate is a reduction in revenue by how much?
It's about 900,000 because it's
900,000.
close to a half a penny. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, we had a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
I wanted to ask you something before we left that topic.
Okay. All right.
I do know that this is still fluid, right?
It
The
is.
budget is a work in progress.
It is.
I wanted to mention one positive note, and that is understanding that it's still fluid and a work in progress. I don't think we have sort of stressed or kind of hit the nail on the head in regards to what we did with positions. When we were looking at positions that were earning less than $15 an hour for full-time personnel throughout the county, we realized we only had one. So out of all of our personnel, we only had one position that was in that situation. And we did bring that position up to $15 an hour. In addition to that, that person will also get the COLA on top of that. So I just think that the court needs to be recognized for doing that and for our workforce to have that. And I just look forward to the continued discussions. I believe there's some things we're probably gonna add back in or maybe take out. So I just look forward to our continuous work.
I buy into your excitement. So, yeah, thank you, and I think, we've done a lot of work in regards to be sure that we're matching what we're asking the employers to do that are coming in for incentives from the company. As well as, again, I want to mention that the HR department has done a good job of identifying the outliers over the last several years and making the process much easier. There still is a range in there that the management departments can manage in their salary applications of those folks. So, I think we're in a much better place. And yes, I'm sure there will be more discussions. I know there's several things I want the court to consider before we establish the final rate that we have an opportunity to improve maybe how the outcomes come for the taxpayers in McLennan County. So we're all working in that direction.
Judge, do you want to go ahead and look at the general fund now?
Yes,
John?
please.
Okay. So on the budget workshop drive, under the fiscal year 2022 folder, there's the general fund folder, and there you'll find a spreadsheet that says general fund revisions after proposed budget. So I just wanted to kind of, show that, hey, these are changes after. So that this spreadsheet can be found there. But Haley has pulled up this main summary that we're all familiar with at this point. That total tax rate at the top in the yellow box, we've already adjusted that for that revised no new revenue rate that you proposed here just a few minutes ago. So I just wanted to kind of show you what that looked like, as how that affected this fund. One other thing to note is that, and you can tell me differently, of course, we pulled out of this scenario the amount, the $3.5 million for the voting equipment. So from what I've gathered, that's not going to be viable for this next year for some different reasons. So I've already adjusted that, and of course, y'all tell me if that's how you would like to proceed there. But then you will see that you're sitting then there, of course, still in excess of your fund balance goal you're sitting at 38.5%. So, then there's, as we left it last week, you had put in an additional $1 million to pay off TCDRS debt. So there's always those options that you can increase that amount. There's other areas that if you would like to look at funding some additional amounts this year,
So that's,
those discussions.
so yeah, I was wondering that, yeah, I see the number there for us to get to the 33% unassigned fund balance, we would have $7,209,792.
Correct.
And now, there is one thing that came to mind, in adding the county court at law 3, we've taken care of the staff for the judge in this prior discussion that we had. There is one other item, and that's security in the courtrooms. And generally, it would require 2 additional deputies to cover that court. I talked to Captain Eubanks, who was in contact with his leadership, that right now the judicial process is much different, slowed down quite a bit, and that asked if we could get by with 1 in that area, and he said they could, as long as the court understood that if we got back in full swing like we used to and all the catching up we need to do, that they may need to add that other security person to be sure they're covered, which is our policy for covering all the courts. And so I'd like for the court to take that in consideration, to add that 1, plus be prepared if during the middle of the budget year, if the docket and the number of trials back in the courthouse and the annex got to the point that security needed to be expanded by that additional 1, we can do that.
Definitely.
So how would you propose if we do that? And I don't have the number, the dollar amount it would take for that position, but.
So we could calculate that, but, just of course, the cost of the salary with the benefits and the taxes. But I would think, like you said, if 1 is sufficient for the time being, I would say we go ahead and add a full position into the next year's budget. Like you said, if the need arises, we need a second, we can come back and add that mid-year.
Okay, so,
But I think it sounds like 1 for sure is needed.
yes. And I feel like that we'll be already into the next budget year, but I don't really know this, but I'm assuming it may be considered for the next budget to add that additional person, but I felt like the court would work with security, that we have things that we need to do in that regard, and there's policies around that. Additionally, I'd like to consider that in the process, and this, I'm really putting this out now so the commissioners can think about it and may have other suggestions that may be better than mine, that we work towards getting the unassigned fund balance down to, let's say 34%, just 1% over our 33 amount of our minimus there. And by doing that, we can take more dollars and pay against our debt, which is debt of the taxpayers. And it has a return for paying that debt down due to the cost of the premium. And so unless there's other items that we could have the same kind of return on, I would suggest we really look at our retirement debt that's out there. Retirement debt is it has many entities in trouble, and we're not in trouble, but we can always take the opportunity to get ourselves in better shape by paying off debt.
What about
We don't pay interest on that debt.
Pardon me?
We're not paying any interest on that debt.
Right, but we do have a return for paying it down. It's calculated.
Yes, so yes, if you paid it down now, if you made a lump sum payment, if you look at the change in the retirement rate over a period of time,
Yeah, it brings the
you
rate
do,
down.
yes.
It is a
There's
good
this
return.
cost savings over the years.
Yeah. It was like 92,000.
I wasn't aware that we had that. Since I didn't see the worksheet last week, I wasn't aware we had over 7 million.
What does it look like doubling that TCD?
You know, changing the fund balance goal, I think, is moving the goalpost on the taxpayers. We've done all this on the backs of the taxpayer, and you know, our you just said it, our retirement funds are in good shape, and I think this budget is in good shape, and I would be in favor of you know, doubling the additional lump sum payment to $2 million. But to change that fund balance, that's moving the goalpost, and that's not fair to the taxpayers.
What's 1%?
Doing an extra million?
Yeah, well, what's the difference in the 33 and 34%?
It's, sorry, one sec. There's some things that aren't accounted for. Does that sound about right, I think? Sorry, one sec.
So you're proposing instead of 1 million, a 2 million
Well,
pay down on the
I think there'll
retirement?
be,
Roughly 1.25 million.
1.25 million?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so instead of 1 million, 2 million, where do we have the funds for the construction on the renovation for the jail, the court space?
well, we're gonna be selling $15 million
Okay,
in bonds.
that's gonna be bond.
And that project will be probably anywhere from 3 to 4 year project, or 2.5 to 4 year project. And so we'll have an opportunity to sell additional bonds
Okay,
in that regard too. So I think, you know, our plan is to have that, they're all long-term improvements. And the other thing is we're looking at how much money can be used out of the American Rescue Plan Act for those as well. So,
okay.
so we don't know exactly, you know, what that'll be.
So we have until Tuesday, August the 24th, to actually adopt, the
You're correct.
final tax rate has to be
Yes.
adopted on what date?
The 24th.
The 24th.
So that day you will adopt the tax rate as well as the final budget.
So we have between now and the 24th to discuss how that
Yes.
fund balance could be reduced that would be meaningful to the county and to the taxpayers.
Definitely.
Right, and of course, I think what Mr. Jones is suggestion, which I don't totally agree with, I mean, I don't totally disagree with, is that we look at lowering that tax rate a little more too. That could be part of
I agree.
what we do, a combination.
I'd like to see what that looks like
A combination of that and paying off more debt.
to get us to the
And then,
34.
and then also trying to decide of projects that we have, how many dollars will be covered for this coming year, will be covered in American Rescue Plan, and what won't be, to be sure we have adequate funding for those as well. You know, I think the commitment to the crisis center would be covered by the American Rescue Plan Act, but if it didn't, I think the court had an interest in paying that out of the general fund. So there's gonna be some decisions to be made, and we'll try to be right on those, Commissioner Miller, as you mentioned, talking about what we think we can do with American Rescue Plan Act money. So,
And just, you know, just per the discussion and just something to look at, we plugged in an extra $1 million there for the TCDRS lump sum payment. So we had already put $1 million in the proposed budget, so that's included up in the upper lines, but doing another $1 million, so $2 million total for the year. And you'll see there, it does adjust our retirement rate down some, so then you'll see the corresponding 90,000. So the net of it being 910 that it would actually cost cash out the door. And then Haley estimated what a new deputy for County Court at Law 3 would be with everything, 79,000. So just kind of showing you, based on those things you threw out, that's where we were.
and by lowering, anytime we lower that retirement debt, it improves our cash flow for the future years because our costs go down. right?
Correct. It's lower, it's lowering, because a piece of our rate we're paying on every dollar of payroll, a piece of that is going to pay off that debt. So yes, the more you pay off,
So it has a long-term return is my point.
yes. And I can pull those, scenarios again where it shows you, if you pay off this much lump sum, how that affects your rate for years to come. So I can get that to y'all.
Now, are we considering, let me make sure I'm on the same page with y'all. Are you talking about taking the entire difference in the fund balance and paying debt down, or are we talking about any more of a deduction in the tax rate?
Both.
Both.
I'm interested in both.
Okay.
I think Commissioner Jones is.
Good, okay.
I'm not speaking for you, Commissioner Jones, but it's what I understood.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
If we
And
can.
you're even with another, so what's plugged in there right now is $2 million, is that
That
correct?
is correct. That is correct.
Would you show Commissioner Perry the calculation on that with our increase to the percentage that the employees put in, and then these $2 million, you had that on a spreadsheet last week.
Yes. And then that, moving that deposit rate up to the 6% is included already. It was included in the
Okay.
proposed budget. But I can show you. Let's see.
As she works on that, I'll just tell you my concern about the tax rate. Because we've been smart, haven't agreed with everything, but we've been smart in our approach to the budget. And it's kind of like having an umbrella when it's raining and you go, oh, I'm not getting wet. And so then you take the umbrella away because you think you don't need it. Well, then you get wet. And I say all that to say, we want a smart tax rate. I think we have, and prior to me even coming to the court has strategically reduced the tax rate each budget year. And that just shows the respect that we have for the taxpayers. So I don't think we're in a position where we have abused taxpayers. I think we've been really fair and kind to them. I don't want us to cut ourselves into a situation where now we need money and we have to go to the taxpayers and increase it. They'll always give us credit for either keeping it the same or reducing it, but they won't have any patience if we have to come back and do something else. So if we're gonna talk about cutting, that has to be a really smart decision, because you can't come back and raise.
I agree with you. The only thing that I would counter offer there is the fact that the difference in the fund balance is we're putting in, it's not tied up in long-term projects. It's a one-time payment this year, it'll show back up next year. So we're not.
I like that.
Yeah, we're not taking the funds and totally dedicating them to a project where we'll never see them again.
And I think we have to remember, we're talking about 33% cushion or 34% cushion, maybe going down to 34%, which translates, worst case scenario, the world ends tomorrow, we have $40 million. I mean, what does 34% translate to?
34% translates to
We're at 33%.
44 million.
How much?
44 million.
Francis, what
So
you
we have
said?
$44 million cushion.
Yes, 44 million.
44.
At
Yes.
34%.
Up, right?
If
You saying-
looking
you
at
saying
34%.
33 to 34. To increase it.
Well, I'm saying drop it down to 34 from where it is right now. 33 is what our policy is.
Right.
So just to put a little cushion, but I'm not worried about, I feel very confident, and you listened to the economic development report a while ago, and I'm very aware of what companies are looking, or how many companies are looking, that haven't even been announced yet. And I think we're gonna have a really good, growth year in commercial development. And, if you can grow commercial faster than you can grow residential, it pulls some of the tax burden off of the homeowners. And so that's the whole goal, to be incentivizing companies, have an active Waco-McLennan County Economic Development Corporation and Industrial Foundation all working together to bring.
Scott?
Yeah, uh-huh.
What consideration, and I saw this on a set of slides, not just last week. The tax, the tax environment in your community, like how much do these companies look at the tax rates that in property taxes that they're, although we do abate some taxes that,
Right. It is a factor. In other words, if we're competing against a community that has a lower tax rate than ours, that is a challenge. But really most of the ones that were comparing us to other states forgot to put in, forgot to mention, state income tax that we don't have.
Right.
And so where
That's
we
the
have,
big one.
yeah, that's a big difference. And so, but I don't know of anyone that didn't come, and Chris may, that because our tax rates were too high. Of course, we only make up, I think, 17% of the total tax bill for someone who lives in the county and the city of Waco. So, so
I got a point of clarification.
Yeah.
It's probably on me. Okay, 33% target fund balance was the 42 plus million.
Correct.
Okay,
Right.
we're saying down, but 34% is the 44 million?
Yes.
Okay.
I think the judge was just saying
Again.
to eat down only to 34,
yeah,
to not quite come down all the way to 33, right?
yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right, okay.
Yeah, we'd go,
Okay, now I understand your
yeah,
down.
we'd go from the 51 or whatever was on there down to
To
34.
Okay,
Right.
because I was doing 33 and I said, how am I doing
thought
33
you
and coming down to 34? I wasn't getting there.
Okay.
Give me that number again, it's 44.
Let's see.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
See, you got it. You gotta talk more language to me.
So I'm gonna throw this out here. I've done the calculation, and Frances has
Okay.
this on her. The 6% at $3 million, so that would be 2 million more extra. You
So-
could,
It benefits.
Yes.
so it buys our rate down.
Yes, so you'd see there, that going to that 6% deposit rate, it already increased your yearly cost there roughly, that 1.1 million. That was your difference in cost per year. But then, of course, moving over, we had looked at 2 million and 3 million. And so that's how that cuts that cost. And that is roughly, with 2 million, it's roughly 180,000 less than we would be spending. With 3 million, it's roughly 270,000 that we would not be spending. So you are going to see an increase because you did want to increase that deposit rate. But yes, paying down those lump sum contributions is eating away at that annual cost that we pay into TCRS.
Okay. And so if we do that and we do 34, what does it do to what we're looking at working with after that? Is that the 6.2 figure? Or it's gonna be a little less?
If you go to 2 million lump sum, yes, ma'am. So this is, this here, you would still be sitting at, that's,
6.2.
yes.
Okay.
I know it only says 1 million there, but we already had 1 million, so 2
Okay,
million
even-
total.
If you did is that with the target fund balance at 33 or 34?
It's at 33 right there.
What does it look like at 34?
What'd you say, $1.25 million more?
1.250.
Yeah.
Approximately. So give 1.250,
Okay.
1.25 million, somewhere in the
Yes.
neighborhood of that.
So that number there, we changed the formula there, so if you look at it, it won't be 33 anymore, it'll be 34. But then that would, you can see there the difference between 34% and where that would end you, or where you would end, it'd be 4.9 million.
What I would like to see, and again, we have until that date to adopt that final rate, would be adding that extra million into the TCDRS and lowering the fund balance to the 34, what does that do to our proposed tax rate?
Okay.
And that's not, we don't have to have that right now. But that would be my bottom line, liking, what I'd like to see.
Well,
We can figure,
yes.
can you
so
figure that? Yeah.
1 penny. Let's see, 1 penny is equal to roughly right under 2 million. So if we divided 49, 23, 656 divided.
She's good. She's
They're good. They're good.
Already thought ahead.
Yeah,
I anticipate y'all's questions.
Batman and Robin of accounting.
You divided.
I find comfort in your 34%, especially within the conversation as we're talking about a pandemic, and we don't really know what health costs are going to look like for the uninsured. So I find comfort in that although we cut that budget, that we do have money to undergird her should she need it.
I believe we do.
And, you know, I think sometimes when we talk percentage, it clouds the picture, but when that percentage translates to dollars and you say 34%, but then you say 44 million, I find much more comfort knowing that there's a cushion of 44 million as opposed to just 34%. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? It sounds better.
But you can cut the tax rate 2 more cents and still have $1 million in cushion between your estimated total ending fund balance and the 34% target. Is that?
Yes, sir. So you'll see there, like Haley is plugged in that's showing up on the screen there, 0.418132. That's dropping it nearly 2.5 cents. But like you said, even if you just dropped it 2, you could still, of course, definitely meet your goal. But just getting to exactly what you were asking for, 0.418132 being the tax rate, 2 million into TCDRS, getting to 34%. But of course, that change in the tax rate.
And so if things continued, and unfortunately, it doesn't seem like there's going to be any change in policy from OCA and as far as the trials and go and things like that, we're still going to be in quite a under budget position.
I'm
correct.
Cautiously anxious with that tax rate. The day that we no longer have the American Rescue Plan Act money, we've done those projects. We're still going to have this tax rate though.
Right.
And then what do we do when we don't have a cushion of money to help undergird some of the water issues and things of that nature that may come in the future? Right now, we have a cushion of the American Rescue Plan Act, but that money's not going to be there always, and as projects come, that money's going to go. But we have got to continue a revenue stream that allows us to operate in perpetuity.
Definitely.
So how much of the funds we'll be talking about are one-time expenses that will show back up as a surplus next year? Like we're putting how much? 2 million in TCDRS?
So this scenario, 2 million into TCDRS.
What else would be considered a one-time expense?
I can't really think of that many more. The voting equipment was something that was much more, that increased capital outlay more than we have spent in a while. But right now, if you look at it without that, capital outlay is pretty consistent from year to year. It's that same number of sheriff's office vehicles with some other equipment here and there. And so I would think that your budget would be pretty consistent, but looking at
We're going to have
COLAs
to
and
put the voting equipment in next year though. See, that's going to come next year.
So that's,
bond or general fund,
something
but
to think about.
5 is coming next year.
There's bond money, if you used bond money for a purchase like that. But if you did want to use general fund, of course, yes, then that would be
Is
something.
that 2 cents or 1 cent? Is that on that top
Two and a
right
half,
up there?
was it?
It was almost 2.5. We're figuring out exactly, almost to get
Okay, just
to where
take that
you were.
down one, take that down.
1 penny?
Yeah, let me see.
And that's
You're
the
gonna-
thing, if you don't want to probably bring it down
I've
that
already
much,
calculated.
but use that money to pay down TCRS, to put more money towards permanent improvement, to put more money
Right.
towards other projects that you may
You're
not
over
usually get the
$3 million
chance to.
cushion. I'll just also, this, and I mean, it may or may not pass the House, but there's another round of federal funding that's coming to us in the infrastructure bill.
Yeah. they're
So,
going to
and I
states.
think there will be some sort of
They're just going to
infrastructure bill,
states,
and it will be,
Let's go to the state.
there will be money to directly to counties for it. Scott knows, I mean, Scott has information on that.
Yeah, it appears that's true, that at least one of the plans were to break it out, just like the American Rescue Plan Act money down to the local level. And that came from consultant that we're talking to now about helping us on water and those kind of things. But that's a good possibility. As you think back historically, let's say 10 years ago, and I don't know exactly what year it was, but there were several years the court lowered the tax rate and give relief to the taxpayers, and then failed to increase that when our expenses went up, and then had to go whenever in 2013 we had to make it up by going, because we had a negative budget, to a higher deal. But
You're talking
we didn't
about-
have any economic growth in
Right,
either.
and they made a huge swing in cutting. I think they did a 3-cent cut. And you can't do that. That's when percentages come into play.
Yeah.
Of thinking 3% of the total budget back then, which was far less than it
Yeah,
is
than
now.
it is now.
That's a huge swing of the bat, and you're gonna have circumstances that aren't gonna work out very well in that. The larger the budget gets, obviously,
Yeah. you
a
can start
cent,
trimming.
a cent and a half.
That's very good, yeah.
But we've been chasing this number for 5 years now, and
Yeah.
we've done it the right way, which is a little bit a year. I don't think a cent and a half is gonna hurt anything at all, if we even went to a cent and a half.
Yeah, I agree.
I think,
Francis?
if you, go ahead, Will.
Francis, put 42 cents even. This is a number that you and I had talked about. That's with a 34% fund balance target.
Yes, sir.
Is that $1 million to TCDRS or two?
It's two, it only shows one up there, but it's
Yes.
it's the one in addition to the one that was already in there. So it's two total.
The first $1 million is embedded in what was in the proposed budget. So yes, it's in all those, embedded in all those numbers up there. It changed the retirement rate and all those things, but, but kind of below the line, the additional, those are the things that have just been thrown around today for discussion.
So that's like a 2.2% reduction, or cent reduction, not percent. I think that's a number we move towards, and there could be some adjustments between, there may be things that we realize have to be adjusted in
Good
there.
target.
You know, actually, there could be some American Rescue Plan money that covers some of the things we budgeted for that
Yes, sir.
we may not need to pay for.
Which will affect the ending fund balance
Yeah.
next year.
So if you take that into consideration as well, is that our economy seems to be flowing good. We do have challenges with COVID and things like that, but as Chris Collins mentioned in 2020 and 2021, when the pandemic was roaring, we grew economically in this county, where there's many things that are hardships on many people as individuals. That piece of it kept going, and I feel confident that we're going to see this for the next year or two. And I'm not an economist, but I listen to a lot of information, and especially specific to our area. It makes me feel pretty good about where we're going in commercial development. So, plus there's, a lot of discussion on, do we have enough housing to meet our growth? And so, I know that we have some really good contractors, both large national firms and local contractors that are looking at building more homes here as well, that have come on the tax roll. Amazon's not on tax roll and will be in the next year as an example, but there's, I think, 4 other companies that we know about that we were involved in, and then all the other things. So I'm comfortable with where we'll be next year with this tax rate. But let's leave it
42
like this.
cents
Let's look
Yeah,
at that.
42
See,
and
get us the,
and the 34% fund balance.
34 and a half, yeah. 34.4.
all of us sitting around here are taxpayers, and we've all, what transpired this year with COVID, increase in values. I think anything we can return to our taxpayers will be appreciated by them, and I think it's the right thing to do.
It by
I
far
agree.
is, because we can, taxes mean a lot more to people that are on fixed incomes than they do us.
Sure.
And that's the people I've been worried about through
Yes.
this whole process,
Yes.
of their assessed values have creeped up. And we're not here to debate that, but that tax rate we assign to it, that is our responsibility. And I think if we can, I agree 100% with all of you. I think we've got to keep that in mind.
Amen.
Okay, any
Well-
other questions, comments?
So we'll copy this scenario over to the budget workshop drive and you can play with it. You don't have to worry about, saving over or anything. It shouldn't let you, save. So you can copy it onto your own desktop or whatever you want to do, but just, you can look at different scenarios until we meet again.
Just a quick calculation. The drop from the current rate of 468,719 to 42 cents is a 10.4% decrease.
Substantial.
Okay,
Which I think that will really do a lot of good for the taxpayers.
yeah, I agree. Okay, thanks for everybody's participation. Francis, what else?
So, until y'all want to discuss more, that's all we have at this point. There's a regular agenda on the 17th, of course, with the tax rate hearing. So we can continue discussions there. I know if you wanted to meet before then, sometime next week, of course, the judge's office will need to, post that meeting and all that stuff. So I'm assuming that y'all just want to meet back on the 17th, as normally planned. But again, let me know if there's anything else that y'all want to talk about before then.
I think that's fine, but I encourage the members of the court to, if y'all learn things about the American Rescue Plan Act and have questions, direct those to Francis and Dustin, and so when we start on that, we'll have a lot of areas to work on and get after that.
Do we want to take a vote on the increase in the fund balance target goal?
Well, our policy is 33, so I think it'll automatically, our policy says a minimum of 33. If we have more than that, I don't think it requires any court action.
We've been above it for the last.
Yeah, we've been above it.
5 years.
Yeah, so but we will make note of it when we vote the tax rate in.
On a quick note, they talked about broadband infrastructure at the last conference. And I know we have a consultant that's going to look at water and sewer infrastructure projects, but Could we also see if someone can give us some information on that? You know, if you go out in my precinct and you try to call me on the cell phone, I can't get reception. And internet is really splotchy, no matter what provider. You might have that out in your rural area. So just to kind of add potatoes to the stew, if we could also look at that issue, because it is critical to people out in the rural areas. I know the kids, when they had to go to virtual learning, were like at libraries because they just didn't have it at home.
In the proposed infrastructure budget that has not been voted on yet, it specifically designates, I forgot the amount, it's a tremendous amount of money towards 5G, and especially towards smaller counties and rural areas. But I feel like our consultant with the infrastructure side, I mean, we have him mainly talking about water, but he's familiar with that as well. So
Right, I think he will.
we'll keep,
Okay.
And Judge, we actually did in the draft that Mike worked on, we actually added just the broad infrastructure language to Tom Ray to that LAN contract. So when y'all see it, so we were kind of, we were setting that up to be able to, for Tom to be able to assist with it too.
okay. Okay, anything else, Francis? Anyone else?
Not for me.
Okay. Dustin, unless there's something else, I'm gonna go into executive session.
Judge Jared does have an update, so
Okay.
I
Put him
think
on.
he is available.
All right, Jared?
Hello again.
Yes.
Thank you for having me again. So in talking about adding a Saturday date for early voting, there's kind of two options. I mentioned the petition earlier. The way that works is you would have to have 15 registered voters submit a petition to my office by October 19th. If we do receive a petition like that, it would need to be approved by Commissioner's Court. The second is we could add the additional dates and update our order of election, but here's the problem with that. We've already sent out the order of election to the entities who are going to hold their election this November, and all of them already agreed to the dates that were set. And so if we were to do that, we would have to redo the order, which is not the end of the world, except that they have to have that order of election approved by August 16th. So we're running a little bit low on time to do this and try to get them all on board. The entities had already agreed to the dates that were set, the Monday through Friday for 2 weeks. And once again, the reason we're using these dates is this is what we've always done. And going back to at least 2015, we use these dates Monday through Friday, Monday through Friday. It is standard protocol. And once again, we're meeting what the Secretary of State has recommended. So does anybody have any questions or any comments? We can go ahead and approve this now. I think that would be the best move.
We did.
We
go
did,
forward.
Jared, we did approve
Okay.
these dates, and then if there's
Great.
request to take further action, we can do it at that time.
Okay, very good. Yeah, if I do receive a request, I will let y'all know as soon as possible.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other discussion on that? And that was under item B1.
Yes.
All right. Okay, this time I'd like to go into executive session under section 551.076 of the government code regarding security.
Can we take a break?
Yes, with a 5-minute break.
Recording stopped.
What agenda item is that, Dustin?
Judge, that's G1, authorization of quote with Secure Tech Systems Incorporated.
Motion to defer.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Pass. Anything else to come before the court? Dustin, is there anything that you know of?
No, sir. I think we covered all the action items. We should be good.
All right. All right, we will stand adjourned.